The Count of Seven Seals, Part 4. The priest was harder. Mourin came bearing scripture and absolution. He genuinely believed I was guilty. That was his weakness and his strength. His seal was woven from faith, absolute, unshakable conviction that he served a higher purpose by condemning me, so I gave him doubt. It took 2 years, 2 years of conversation through the bars, me asking questions about his God, about justice, about what it means to burn a man for crimes he didn't commit. Me planting seeds of uncertainty in the soil of his dogma. I never directly challenged him. Instead, I reflected his own doctrine back at him, twisted slightly, asking him to justify contradictions, pointing out the silences in his faith, making him defend what he'd done by forcing him to examine it. The counterspell was forgiveness, not forgiveness from him to me, forgiveness from me to him, a release of the rage I'd held toward his conviction. When I spoke it, it wasn't a curse, it was absolution, and that broke him more completely than any curse could have. Because Mourin needed me to hate him, he needed my condemnation to confirm his righteousness. Forgiveness unmade that. It left him standing alone with the knowledge that he'd burned an innocent man not in service of his God, but in service of his own certainty. He walked into the Thornhall Cathedral 3 months later and hung himself from the bell rope. 3 seals broken. I should have felt victory. Instead, I felt the shape of what I was becoming more clearly with each death. Each man I destroyed required me to become something, to wear their shape, to think their thoughts, to understand their fears so intimately that I could weaponize them. I was no longer the man they'd imprisoned. I was becoming the instrument of their destruction. And the question of whether that was redemption or damnation was no longer mine to answer.